Welcome to Daniel's Inferno. My name is Daniel. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about something extremely risible, the fact that old age homes in Canada and Ontario specifically have atrocious records for how they manage things and how patients are treated. The rumor mill is a-going about these things, and a lot of it was now confirmed by what you see on my screen. So military teams raise concerns about conditions at Ontario care homes. So for those of you that don't know, Ontario had different military personnel go to specific old age homes that were understaffed and were facing the brunt of the virus. So these personnel went there to help be support staff. They have now reported back some very shocking and disturbing things, and we're going to talk about a few of those today. Military personnel sent to nursing homes have observed shocking conditions, including blatant disregard for infection control measures, mistreatment of residents, and a level of care described as horrible. The CAF, or Canadian Armed Forces, teams deployed to 5 of the province's worst hit long-term care homes have raised concerns about each of the facilities, describing the care as ranging from below best practices to borderline abusive, if not abusive and worse, the documents show. So let's just stop there. Abusive, borderline abusive, if not worse, and a level of disregard and mistreatment of the residents that is described as horrible. Would you like to have a loved one who has worked hard through their life and now they have been relegated to this home already away from their original home, their home, what they owned and worked for in their life? They're now relegated to this little area. Okay, they do get to interact with other people and make friends, that's part of it, but they're not really with their families anymore. They only get to see their families on visits. We, the people who put our loved ones in these homes, put our faith and trust in the people who run them and the employees of them to do the best job possible. Many of these homes are extremely expensive, beyond extremely expensive. And to get this kind of care, regardless of what you're paying, but you would like to get a level of care that you're paying for, especially if you're paying a lot of money. Infection prevention and control measures were found to be a particular problem, with PPP protocols going unheeded by staff, many of whom were not properly trained, according to the documents. The soldiers reported witnessing cockroaches, flies, rotten food, as well as residents left in soiled diapers or crying out for help for lengthy periods. At one facility, residents had not been bathed in weeks. Can you imagine just you yourself not being able to have a shower or bathe or clean yourself? You're in a diaper because maybe you've lost control of your bladder and you're left in a soiled diaper? Horrific. Absolutely horrific and below abysmal. Words really can't describe it. Before we continue in the article, so Doug Ford, Ontario's premier, uh, every day of the week, he, for the most part, does a virus or pandemic news conference where he, gives a daily briefing of what's going on. So at the briefing today, people were calling in and people were asking him questions. So I would like to direct yourself to one of the questions in particular that I found shocking that the capital city of Canada, Ottawa, is doing.
I'm I'm sure you've seen the news out of Ottawa that the city had asked its nursing homes to tell families to stop doing these window visits. Jim Watson has since come out and told them to essentially rethink that. But wanted to get your take on that, especially given that that's how your family has been visiting your mother-in-law.
I'm trying to be politically correct, but I'm usually not politically correct. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You have a loved one, at a home, and most of them are elderly, and the last time you get to see your parents in some cases, I don't know who's come up with this ridiculous idea, but they need to rethink it. Put yourself in their shoes. When our family goes to visit my mother-in-law, do you know what I think? I think, thank God she's on the first floor.
I'm not going to show you the whole clip. As you can see, it's just 53 seconds left, but I think you get the gist of what Doug Ford is saying. It's risible that Ottawa has decided to not allow window visits of their old age homes. Can you imagine that? I can't. I can't imagine being told, no, you're not allowed to go see your loved one, even through the window, even if you take proper precautions and safety measures, even if you haven't had symptoms, even if you've been tested that morning. Seriously, that's beyond thinkable. It, the elderly people of a country are the reason that the young have something to stand upon. All right? They built that foundation for us so we can continue building. It is our duty and our responsibility to take proper care of them. They aren't relegated to nothing just because they're older. Their wisdom, their knowledge, and what they've already contributed are so important and they must be cherished. And as you can see, at least in Ontario, and I don't know if you've heard, but Quebec as well has had a horrific time in old age homes. Certain provinces have actually taken control and integrated old age homes into the public health system. Now, I'm not suggesting necessarily that that's what needs to be done, but something needs to be done because anyone whose loved one is being treated and degraded like this, well, they're going to lash out and they're going to want justice. They're going to want answers. And in his interview today, Doug Ford said, I'm the boss. The buck stops with me. I have to take full culpability for this. You know, he he knew the system was broken, he said, but he didn't quite grasp how deep rooted it was until he read this report. And apparently the report kept him up all night just because of how gut-wrenching it was. I mean, he did seem genuinely upset in certain instances. Um, Doug Ford is not a very intelligent individual. I like him a lot, but he's not some sort of mastermind 3D chess player. He wears his heart on his sleeve and he's very by the book and he listens to the people. And that's one of the things that's most respectable about him is he's just a plain talking guy. And, a lot of people can relate to that. And, he doesn't try to bull you. He doesn't try to, you know, twist you up in knots. He tells it how it is. And another thing I'll say about him is when he has been presented with a problem or something that people don't like, generally speaking, he has moved to correct that problem and to make it into a situation that people are content or at least happier with. Just going to read a little bit more of this article. Staff at Brampton Nursing Home allegedly recorded a Taylor Swift dance video showing them dancing through the facility, passing between areas deemed infected and and an area that were uninfected without wearing any protective equipment. At a facility in Etobicoke, residents who tested positive shared rooms with uninfected residents, separated only by a curtain. So Globe News was not able to independently verify the allegations made by the military concerning the homes. The documents did not always specify at which of the 5 long-term facilities the problematic care practices were alleged to have been observed. This issue is obviously serious enough that Doug Ford has made a statement about it. Justin Trudeau has also made a statement about it. And, I think that something does need to be done. Doug Ford claims that the federal government needs to assist them with revamping and fixing the system. I am only alleging that something needs to be done to make positive steps towards change so that these individuals, these loved ones of ours, are treated with respect, dignity, and love, just like they deserve. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you have a moment. Join the conversation. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. I'm Daniel's Inferno.